everybody. We're going to be reviewing episode 10, the last episode of season 4 of You. So the
of
episode
you or me?
Of You.
You.
No, you.
You.
The episode starts out with Joe finding Marianne overdosed in the glass cage, and he's freaking out, doesn't know what to do, because he was gonna, himself after he let her go.
Right.
Because he wanted her to be with her daughter, and now she's dead, and so this kind of derailed his plans.
Yeah, it kind of goes to plan B, and I feel sorry for him at that point because he really did want her to be back with her daughter, and he feels like he failed.
Yeah.
And he sees the pills laying there. She's dead. Now what?
Yeah. Well, there's no pills because she...
Oh, right. Well, the open pill bottle thing. Yeah.
So he finds her note that says, put me in a public place where someone will find me, because she doesn't want her daughter to think...
Least he can do.
Yeah, to think,
Right, because can you imagine, you don't know if your mom or dad, they just disappear, and you have no idea what happened? Yeah. At least this way she knows she's dead, she's laying somewhere. Mm-hmm.
So then he props her on up on a park bench and then leaves.
Middle of the night.
Is still continuing on writing a suicide note, and then sees that Reese, the real Reese's body has been discovered.
A body has been discovered.
But the only one that knew that he was behind that murder was Tom Lockwood, Kate's dad.
That's right.
So he's like, what is he trying to do? Is he trying to get rid of me or something?
Because there's no way. You know that Joe
you
hides bodies.
You don't just stumble upon a body.
Yeah, Joe hides bodies really good. So that also means that somebody was watching him.
Yep.
Tuck the body away, which we don't ever see in the show, but they show it on TV. A little news bite that says, hey, we found him, this is him.
Yeah.
So he's like, crap.
Yeah.
And they said they're checking DNA or something, or is that late? I think that's later. They talk about DNA.
No, yeah, they do. They do mention that they're checking for DNA on his body.
And he's like,
oh, well, I'm screwed. So then if that wasn't enough to get Joe convinced to kill Lockwood, then he gets a call or a text from Kate telling him to come over. So then he does, and then she unveils all of the...
Yeah, we find out what really happened.
Yeah, all the things that happened with her dad, and how he is using her, controlling her, using her as an investment.
Right, basically...
He doesn't really care about her as a person, and that she's never had any of her own accomplishments, and she's just devastated, and doesn't know what to do, and she was gonna leave and not tell him. Yeah. And so that's why she's like super drunk and is just telling him all of this stuff, right? Because she has feelings for him and didn't want to just leave him out in the dust. Yeah, yeah. And just like at the end of episode 7, or was it 8, where he's talking like he's leaving, it was kind of like her version of that. She didn't want to do that to him. Yeah. But man, it basically recaps that entire time of what her dad said. Like I said, it's terrible to say that you're nothing without me. You couldn't have done anything. It's like, how terrible to be told that. So then he gathers all that information and is like, okay, he's going down. So then he texts her dad from her phone and says, meet me in your hangar at 8 or whatever. So he goes there and he meets him, and he's like, oh yeah, well, he tries to like sneak up on him and chloroform him, but then he turns around right as he's about to do it, so he tucks it back in his pocket. And then, but he thought he was meeting Kate. Yeah, he thought he was meeting Kate. So he's like, yeah, I texted you off of Kate's phone. That's my bad. I just needed to get you here so I could talk to you. Right, because he figured he didn't want to talk to him. Yeah. He didn't want to have to deal with him. And then he chloroforms him and then ties him to a chair with like these fuzzy handcuffs because he wants to make it look like a suicide. Right. He stopped at some sex shop or something. Yeah. Leather, wider ones, so that if you resist, I guess it doesn't leave marks. It doesn't leave marks. Has him in the chair finally. Well, I think he's trying to figure out what to do at this point. He asks him about Reese's body. Right, and about the DNA. Yeah. And what in the hell are you doing? Is my DNA going to be found on that? What? And then I can't remember. I think he said, "You're smarter than this, Joe. You know I wouldn't do that." I think he goes on like that, but I can't remember what
what the end result is. Although he's got him in the chair, and then that's when
So then his bodyguard,
because his original idea here is to extort him for money, I think, and then get away.
Yeah.
And but that plan gets changed very quickly when, and this I got to say, to me is better is a flashback to Breaking Bad and the box cutter scene. So the guard comes, his security guard comes in, and he's like, "Oh, Mr. Locker, what's going on?" And then Joe jumps on him and like punches him in the
gets his carotid.
Oh no! First he cuts his leg.
Oh,
he's hiding
his
low.
Achilles,
Cuts his Achilles, goes down, and he's falling, and he just goes, and then there's blood everywhere. And he said, "Well, plan B."
There goes that plan.
Because he originally was going to extort him for money or something. I'm not sure exactly what the plan was, but it changed. And now, you go ahead. I want you.
Yeah.
You
So
want to tell this part.
then, he frames the bodyguard for his murder, and it's basically like a hostage situation gone wrong.
That was
and
bad.
then he, I don't know if it's before or after, but he transfers some of Lockwood's money to a bank account of his own, and then gets a plastic bag and puts it over his head and wraps his head with duct tape, so then he suffocates, and then he disposes of the bodyguard's body, and then
cleans up the huge blood thing.
Does he? Yeah,
He had to. He probably bleached the crap out. He knows how to do that.
Yeah.
He's got about 20 times, whatever. Plenty of experience.
Yeah. So then he gets done with that, and then he's walking to this bridge and is debating whether to jump or not. And Reese is telling him, like, "Don't do it, don't do it. You know, we can change, we can be better. What's so bad about us?"
And this is the next morning, and they're in the middle of London. I don't know what that bridge is called. It's a walking bridge, and it's great because he's pleading with him not to jump, not to jump.
Yeah.
And I love what happens.
Yeah. So then
and Haley called
he gives him a hug, and he's like, "It'll be okay." And
so
then
he's air hugging, if anyone's watching,
looks
air
like a
hugging.
psycho probably. And then so he gives him a hug and then tosses him over the edge.
And Haley called it. You called it about 2 minutes before that.
Yeah.
You said he's going to throw him.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, he's gonna do it.
Yep. So then he goes over the edge, and he's like, like a weight has been lifted off of him, but then he still himself jumps into the water.
That's right.
Trying to off himself, and then he's in the water drowning, and then he still has that inner monologue going on, and he's like, "Should I have done that? Maybe I can change. I want me and Kate to be together. I shouldn't have done that." And he's like regretting his decision of jumping, and then it cuts to him waking up in the hospital, and they're like, "Oh, you're lucky, like that someone found you and all this stuff." And he's like,
"Yeah,
well, okay." Like, I don't think he would have cared either way.
But as you pointed out, we've talked about this.
He's like
he always gets, what's that?
He's like a cockroach.
Oh yeah, he's unkillable.
Yeah,
he is unkillable. Which
even to himself.
Yeah.
So,
but it's funny because I mean this show is dark humor. Every bit of it. The Reese part, I love when he's harassing him constantly. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And then a lot of stuff we didn't talk about was in the last few episodes. Every time he's with Kate or with another woman, he's like, "Try to shag her. Shag her. This is the perfect time. You're passing it, mate. What are you doing?"
Yeah,
and over
like
and over,
the
like
worst parts of him.
Yeah, all that he's always trying to get. It's like, dude, get away.
Yeah.
So he wakes up in the hospital, and the doctor or nurse, somebody says, "Hey, you're lucky," and he's like, "Oh man, what the hell now?" But who does the cops come in? I can't remember who comes in. Kate comes in. That's right. Okay.
So then Kate comes in, and she's like, "You bastard! You were gonna leave me? How dare you do that to me?" And all this stuff. And he's like, "I mean, I didn't die, so like, why are you mad at me?" And then, or she was like, "I would have killed you if you would have died," or something like that. And it's just, attacking him. And then,
that's all right.
And then he's just saying how everything he's done is unforgivable. Like he is like a tortured soul. He's never gonna be who she, never gonna be who she wants. And then she's like, "Oh, I know about Reese. I know that you killed him for my father." And he's like, and
really?
Then he's like, "Oh yeah, well, also your dad's dead." And she's like, "Okay."
Wait, did they already announce that?
I think maybe I don't know if he told her or if it was like on the news or something.
Yeah, because this could be a day or two later. Who knows how long he was out?
No, it's just been the night.
The night, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, then maybe they don't know yet.
Yeah.
And of course, what's going to happen is, she gets the company all the money.
Yeah. So then he tells her his real name. He tells her that he's done really bad things, and she also reveals that she's done bad things. And then they get into this relationship where they're going to keep each other good. And I'm like, that'll last long.
But what I like about this is he seems like he's finally open. Okay, look, like you said, my name is Joe Goldberg. I've got this horrible history of terrible things that I've done. And she's okay with it.
Yeah. She's like, I've done bad things too.
I just love that, because I thought for a moment she was like, what?
Yeah.
But clearly he's just killed, she knows he's killed some people. Okay.
Yeah. So then they have to deal with the whole Nadia thing. So while this is all going on, Nadia is trying to gather evidence at Joe's apartment and finds the little box of goodies of all of Reese's things and just takes pictures of everything. And Edward is waiting for her down in the street. And so she gets all the way down there and she's looking for Edward and doesn't see him.
And then guess who walks up?
Yeah, Joe walks up behind her and scares the crap out of her. And then she's like, "Hi, Professor Moore." And he's like, "What? I just saw you coming out of my apartment. Did you find what you were looking for?" And she's like, "Oh no, I was just looking for Edward." And she's walking back and walking back and walking back.
And he's looking. And also, Joe is very creepy.
Yeah,
he's just very
like cowering over her, like
and kind of corralling her behind the car.
Yeah.
Which is not good.
When she stumbles upon Edward's body and his throat has been slit and she's
blood everywhere.
She's freaking out, and then Joe ends up pinning Edward's murder on her and then pinning Reese's murder on Edward. And then it's just a whole circle of framing one on the other kind of thing.
And he came up with a good story as to how it was going to happen. And she said, "Why don't I just call the police right now?" And he said, "They're not going to
believe you."
Well, and they're already on their way. He already called. And you've got, and this is what's so stupid. You never do this.
Oh,
here's the knife.
He says, "Give me your hand." And she's like...
And then she puts her hand out and he puts the knife in it and she takes it.
Yeah.
How stupid are you?
I have a feeling he was going to force her to do it anyway.
But it's like, I'm not willingly, because now her fingerprints are on the knife, and it's her own knife. I think we saw earlier in the show, it's a fold-out kind. And it's like, you're toast. And so
then she,
Now say the camera pulls out, and Joe's walking away. You hear sirens. And then we transition to a little bit later.
Yeah, and also he's narrating also this whole time, and he's saying how Nadia went to jail and hasn't spoken a word about anything related to Joe. And because obviously no one's going to believe her.
Right, because he's a hero.
Yeah,
over
always
and over
the
and over
hero
and over
of every
again.
story. And then, so then it cuts to Kate and Joe in New York, and they're getting interviewed by a magazine or newspaper.
Yeah, some high-end, it could be Vanity Fair or something like that.
Saying how they have endured and survived all
and even
all this turmoil.
History, all this comes out about you, Joe, and now we know your full name and your history. And they're in this beautiful
like
skyscraper apartment.
Well, no, I think it's the business
office.
Yeah.
It's the office. Okay, and the guy's sitting there doing the interview, and Joe has short hair again, no beard, and is sitting next to Kate, and they're all like hand on the knee, talking. And so they the reporters start asking questions, and you know how they're talking about how you can control your image if you've got good PR people. Well, they have a good PR person who is stopping the reporter from asking specific questions about Joe's past.
Yeah.
And so she goes, and he goes, okay.
Like, I think he asks a question about love, Quinn.
Yeah.
And they're like,
that's off limits.
Yeah.
So, but what I love it, and you could probably add it here, but he walks to the window, and he's still got his inner monologue going, and he's talking about how obviously he feels like things have changed and whatever. But then what do you see reflection of in the window?
Yeah, so then he's looking at his own reflection, and then whenever he's turned back to walk away, it's Reese in the reflection on the glass. Reese. And we're like, great, yep. So he's not gone.
He's not free. And the thing is, how could you, if you really
How could you be free of something that's in your mind?
Yeah, that's so such a difficult part of his life, a very traumatic, and you don't just, it's gone.
It's not just, you can't quit it cold turkey.
No, but it was great because you see Reese smiling in the window like, dude, I'm still here. And they walk back, he sits down and puts his hand on her knee sort of thing, and then they're all happy, happy, happy.
Yeah.
Man,
so,
but it shows though, I think, and it's true, rich people can get out of trouble. You just got to have a low PR. You probably couldn't get away with this exact story.
It is kind of unrealistic, but
so many people have gotten out of crazy situations.
A lot of the components in this are true and happen in real life.
Yeah.
But not his specific story, but like, and he always ends up finding rich women to cover all of his tracks.
That's right.
So, and don't care about him killing people. Like, what?
Yeah,
where are these women? Like, what did they go through?
And they want to be with him, with a crazy dude.
Yeah.
And she's crazy too, I guess, but not like Love was.
Love.
Yeah. She's never murdered anyone.
Well, she had that whole thing with the kids and the...
Right, but she didn't know that. But she felt very guilty about it, and she didn't know that was going to happen, according to her dad. Okay, so we still have Joe, and we have Kate now. Everyone else is pretty much gone. Like the other characters aren't part of it.
Yeah, they're all back in London. So.
And my question here.
Oh, also Phoebe.
Phoebe's story.
So Phoebe gets out of the ward and then goes to Thailand and teaches English to little kids.
And it's so cute because she looks like she's genuinely happy in what she's doing, and she's playing hide and seek with the kids, and the kids run off.
Super cute.
And it's so nice to see a happy ending for somebody.
Because I feel like Phoebe is realistically the only one, the only other side character that we care about.
Yeah, and she seemed to, my first take on this was that she was the killer because she seemed too nice. Obviously, I was wrong. Of course, who could ever have predicted that it was Reese and Reese was really Joe? So, but for me, it's trying to figure out what happens next. Is there going to be another season?
Probably.
Will there be more? Because the show was so much fun.
Well, also, I just want to see who can go up against him. Because I feel like him and Kate now are kind of unstoppable together.
And he's got
with all those
billions of dollars.
Like, I know that Love's family was rich, but they were millions. This is billions.
Yeah, this is billions. Yeah, they got all kinds of cash to throw around.
Yeah.
And it's just funny to see Joe looking like he did in season 1.
Yeah.
Back to the same
He's
look,
back
short
to his
hair.
baby face.
And also, my question is, what do you think is the best season? 1?
3.
3? You still like 3
Without
better?
question, yes.
Okay. For me, it's
between 3 and 4. Like, I enjoyed 4 a lot. I just love so much.
Yeah, I love Love. But I would say 3 is still it's real close between 3 and 4. But the best part of 3 was the issues with the guys and their camping thing.
Yes.
Was so freaking funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I die laughing when he's like, so are we going to kiss now?
Yeah. Yeah.
But great times, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the show.
So that's a wrap for season 4 of You. We are hopeful that there's going to be a season 5, but
I hope so.
Who knows?
I really hope so.
We would love to see what Joe does next. That's for sure.
Exactly. Take care.
Yeah. Signing out.